Today, I'm here to review a theory that on the surface might look a little far-fetched, and assume that a lot of you guys will dismiss it at first, just like I did when I first heard of it. But the more I start to look at the evidence, the more apparent it became that this theory might actually have some merit to it, and it started to become a more appealing theory for me to review. So today, I'm here to review the Monet is alive theory for you guys. Hope that you enjoy it. Now, I want to start by observing the change that occurred to Monet, the physical change that occurred after she arrived to Punk Hazard. So you guys saw when she first arrived, she had a normal body, she had arms and legs, all the limbs were there. And as we fast forward to the point where the Straw Hats arrived and we had the whole Punk Hazard arc, we saw that she had traded in her legs for bird-like legs with talons, and you traded in the arms for wings. So that's very interesting. Why did that happen? We never got an explanation for it. And I'm definitely wondering, what that is. Some people had speculated that she had donated those to possibly Dellinger. That would explain his sort of weird appearance. But as we've seen now in Don Quixote flashback, that's not the case, seeing as how we see Dellinger with arms and legs, as a kid. So that pretty much throws that out the window. So then, why did she do it? I don't know, is she obsessed with birds? Maybe, but we still haven't got an explanation to it. And it's very weird of Oda to do that kind of stuff. Was it law that did it? And then if so, why? Now, the next thing I want to point out is the fact that Monet is really one of the only characters that we've seen in the series that has studied astronomy. Pretty much other than the people from O'Hara, astronomy is not something that we really seen much in One Piece at all. And, it's interesting that Oda would throw this little teaser in, despite the fact he's going to kill her off very soon, as we saw at the end of Punk Hazard. So that was very interesting. And another reason why I do believe that she probably will come back at some point, because she could play a very important role, a vital role really, in understanding the moons, the multiple moons, and understanding the ancient civilization, the people from the moon, and possibly, and now having some connection to him. So that's going to be very important, and I just don't see why he would put that little teaser in if he was just going to kill it off. So that's a very interesting point. Now, another important thing to point out is the fact that as the Straw Hats were sailing from Punk Hazard to Dressrosa, they encountered these sea bunnies that surrounded pretty much their ship in the ocean, and all these things weren't really addressed in the chapter at all. Nobody knew what they were. We haven't seen these before. Yet, some people were finally able to point out that these have an uncanny resemblance to an attack that Monet did, where she launched these snow bunnies, and they look almost exactly the same. It's kind of ridiculous how close they resemble each other. So, did Monet split herself up and manage to escape through the ocean? Is she in Dressrosa? I mean, I don't know, but it's really weird thing. And not only that, in SBS, Oda did get the question of what are these? What are these sea bunnies that we saw? And this is one of the questions that he sort of brushed off and just gave a quick answer. Like, I'll put it down below so you guys can see just how much he sort of avoided the question, but sort of put it in the SBS anyways to, I think, tease us. So, very very good clue there. Now, the last thing I want to point out before I move on to how I believe she survived, I do want to talk about how Monet had grown attached to both the kids as well as to Law himself. Now, let's start with the kids because that one's a bit more debatable, but look at her dialogue. It appears as though she was under the impression that she was doing the correct thing for the kids. And even though she was, giving them candy with drugs in it, she says that, they're living a carefree life away from harm and, in a safe environment. And depending on the way that Monet grew up and depending on her childhood, she could see it as a life better than the one she lived. So I can see that being the case. Although that one's, like I said, is a bit more debatable. But when it comes to Law, we saw how Monet actually did care for Law when he was in pain. But as soon as Virgo showed up, she changed her whole persona. She went from someone who was asking Law, "Hey, what's wrong? Are you okay?" to someone she did her typical laugh. And so this indicates to me two things. One, that she definitely did care for Law. And we did see that she said, jokingly, you asking me on the date, which, could be foreshadowing, could not be. But, she definitely cares for Law. But, she's scared to show it in front of other people, pretty much only when they're alone. And, this could be an indicator of maybe she has two personalities, or maybe You know, she's afraid of the consequences of what would happen. You know, she can't really be helping out the enemy. But she did seem to be attached to Law. So it seemed weird for her to show that attachment, or for Oda to show that attachment, as well as to the kids, and then again to kill her off. So another point there. So those are the reasons for why people think that she will come back. You know, the mysteries that are still left to learn about her. But now let's talk about how she could possibly have survived. Now, first off, let's remember she's a Logia, she's a Snowfruit user. So, you know, you have to remember when Caesar stabbed the heart, I don't believe he was using any hockey. Yeah, we did see blood come out, so there definitely was blood, and so, you know, there's that. That's why people think she's dead, because, you know, blood come out, obviously, that's it. So that's sort of weird to me as well, how that would happen. Maybe the heart can't turn into Logia form when it's, you know, Law's using, when it's inside of Law's thing or whatever. So that was very strange, but nevertheless, like, let's assume that you know, it did hit it, and, you know, obviously we saw blood come out, so we can assume that it was damaged. Using her fruit, maybe she could have combined with the ice, or sorry, I mean the snow around her, and possibly slowed down that damage from really taking effect. Maybe she could have put her heart in a sort of cryo state that we've seen, you know, a lot of bodies and stuff put in to preserve it. So, you know, that's also a possibility. If you guys remember, Aokiji came a little bit later to the same spot where that event occurred, and, you know, being an ice fruit user, you know, there's always the possibility he could also have found that heart and, you know, froze it in a cryo state. Now, the thing here, of course, is how is she going to get the heart back? Now, we do know, well, we don't know, but we can assume that Law's level fruit acts differently to someone like Sugar's, in that if he passes out, his effect of the fruit doesn't really go away, because he's more of an operation ability than actually putting a curse on someone. So, you know, because we can assume that if he passes out, the centaurs and people that he helped out aren't going to all of a sudden lose their legs and swap it. So, you know, there's that, although it is possible. I'm not ruling it out, but we can assume, I think we can safely assume that that is the case. So then how exactly is Monet going to get her heart back? You know, I don't know. And that really is where the, you know, the big downfall of this theory is. If it all sounds good, but really this is the main point that needs to be addressed, and, you know, if she ever does come back, this does need to be addressed, so, you know, we don't get like big plot holes and stuff like that. So I don't know, we'll see in the future, I guess. But the last thing I want to talk about is what would happen if she did come back. What were my thoughts on what, you know, what can possibly happen? And of course, you know, the popular consensus before the end of Punk Hazard was that she was going to join the crew. You know, a female Logia, a strong user who was an astronomer, and you know, that could offer a lot to the series as well as to the Straw Hat crew themselves. So she was a very big potential candidate that a lot of people thought would join them. And, you know, seeing her die killed that off immediately, but, you know, if she ever comes back, that's still a possibility. Another possibility is that she could join, you know, the other side, join the bad guys, and using her knowledge, you know, she could be a very big boon to, like, let's say the Marines, or, you know, even someone like NL, or you don't know, the possibilities are endless. Now, as to my final thoughts about the theory, although it does have a really big problem, a big issue that needs to be addressed, and that could, you know, as a potential killer for the theory, it does have a lot of evidence to counteract that, and really does support the theory very well. You know, again, it really comes down to Oda and the way he's going to do it, but, you know, as we have seen in Dressrosa, she has come up multiple times already in flashbacks. Maybe another little hint there that, you know, she might still be alive. You know, she's a very smart character, very quick to learn, and someone who, you know, was sort of the brains behind Caesar Clown, you could say. She'd definitely be a big addition to whatever group she would join if she was alive. And you know, I do hope that we do get to see more of her, at least her backstory. You know, if she's dead, you know, we get to learn more about what she went through, and what her childhood was like, why she was a spy. You know, and come on, it's Monet, so who doesn't want more? So that's gonna be it for this, guys. Let me know in the comments down below if you like this video. Make sure to leave a like. Let me know your thoughts on the theory, as well as what other theories you guys like me to review. These take a little bit to make, and, you know, I'm trying my best, but, you know, I'm having fun making these, so, you know, I'm gonna keep grinding them out as long as I like doing this. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, peace.